Hello and welcome to Gin with Gwyn. I'm Oliver Gwyn, and this is where I give you my off the cuff and unrehearsed thoughts on marketing, data, and philosophy. This week is the live entertainment industry in trouble. Now, it might seem an odd thing to speculate about. After all, every ticket in the world is seemingly sold out instantly as soon as it goes live. But that is precisely why I think that the live entertainment industry might actually have a huge problem on the horizon, and a sudden drop off is about to happen. This last week, I went to see Aunty Donna live, the and then Tim Apollo in Hammersmith. I had a good time. It was a really good show. I enjoyed myself a lot. But I was just reflecting that the entire buying and customer experience is not good for live events, even though nothing particularly bad happened or anything like that. But in general, we have got to a stage where, because seemingly every ticket in the world is sold out instantly, when those tickets became available, I didn't have a lot of time to ask other people if they wanted to go, and so I just was online. Tickets were going. I managed to get a seat. There was only one day that I personally could go. You have the pressure that the clock runs down, and suddenly you're having to put in your life details very quickly to get a ticket. This is 4 or 5 months out from the actual event itself. And so by the time the event came, like a couple of days before, I put it on my calendar and stuff. But I was like, "Oh, where's my tickets? They never actually came. Oh, I have to download an app. Uh, what's the password to the app? I don't remember. I set it up 6 months ago. Finally managed to get into the app about half an hour. It took me to figure out how to get into the app. Got my tickets there. It was all good. Finally on that front of things. Then I realized that the time that I had put on my calendar, the 7 p.m., was when the doors open. It's not when the show started. And so I'd sort of already planned my day. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to rush straight from work, all this kind of stuff. Turned out I didn't need to rush at all. It's an hour trip for me to get to Hammersmith. So it was, all of these things made me feel like not really a great experience. Obviously, you get there, and the show doesn't start at 8 o'clock anyway. It starts at like half eight, or the first act is half eight, and then they go on at nine. Good show and stuff, but I thought overall not a great experience. In the interim period, I've had about a million emails from Eventum about all the other things that they've put on, and it made me just reflect that this is not great for the consumer, and ultimately people will be turned off by this experience. I've also, been to concerts and stuff where you're paying £200-300 for your ticket and you have the same experience. There seems to be no standardization of tickets and prices. It's just however much that artist thinks that they can charge. I went to see Foo Fighters the other year, and literally 2 days later, Red Hot Chili Peppers were also performing at the same venue, and they were charging £100 more. And I was like, how can you, doesn't make sense to me. So I looked up some stats about this, and obviously, unfortunately, a lot of my stats are from America today. But in America, Ticketmaster and Live Nation, one was bought out by the other, and it basically meant that they've got a monopoly on the industry, and that's one of the reasons why we've seen such high prices in particular, and this scarcity, which I imagine is somewhat fake to a degree, being built out. So between 2019 and 2024, consumers paid enormous mandatory fees on Ticketmaster. The FTC says about 16.4 billion in fees. Nice business to be in, this middleman business. The FTC complaint and press release state consumers paid that amount of mandatory fees, with internal documents saying average fees range between 24 to 44%. These are people who are not doing anything. They're not doing anything. They're not making a thing. They're not putting on a show. They're not hosting the venue or anything. They don't have any legal risk. They're just taking the money for your ticket, and they're taking 24 to 44% supposedly. Now, on my particular ticket for the event, it told you how much was going to the artist and how much was to the middleman. It was £33 to the artist and £8 to the middleman, whoever I booked it for. I don't quite remember. And £8 is a lot of money, in my opinion, to process a fee. Okay, some of that money will be the actual like fee that you paid to process the money and all of that kind of stuff. Maybe some of it goes on insurance. I'm not quite sure, but it seems like a lot of money to a middleman who does not quite enough to earn that money. Industry market reports estimate that the global secondary ticket market value is in the low to single digit billions in 2023, and forecast as high single digits in 20 to 2020. to 2030. So it's estimated about $2.85 billion in 2023 was spent on the secondary market because people and bots and middlemen, they buy up all of these tickets so that they can sell them for a lot higher price. And people who release tickets, they've made a number of things to try and counteract this. They've tried to give the tickets a face value, all of this kind of things. But ultimately, if you want to go to that particular show and tickets are 50 quid and they're only 30 quid, then what can you do? If you want to go, you'll pay that. So the US Justice Department has filed an antitrust lawsuit seeking to break up Live Nation and Ticketmaster in May 2024. In September 2025, just last month, the FTC with several states sued Live Nation and Ticketmaster for alleged deceptive resale and fee practices. They've been accused of being those resellers in a couple of cases. These are active, high-profile enforcement actions that are ongoing now. Somebody from the US Department of Justice said, "Our antitrust lawsuit seeks to break up Live Nation and Ticketmaster's monopoly and restore competition for the benefit of fans and artists." That's one of the main things I want to iterate on this. Artists do not benefit from all of this scarcity and all of this want. Loads of people want to go see them. It's really difficult to get tickets, but they don't really benefits. And broker networks create many accounts to bypass purchase limits and automated bot purchases. In 2025, the FTC and the Department of Justice and other authorities have probed whether platforms did enough to stop them. I think that's kind of horrible in a way that your platform is, hey, did you do enough to stop these people doing all these dodgy things? We're going to go after you and not the people who are actually doing these things. A 2024 fan survey reported that 44% of music fans are buying fewer festival tickets due to rising prices in the UK. And industry figures for the UK put the annual cost to fans from touting at around 145 million, according to the O2. So it's just not a good situation for anybody. Not good for the fans. It's not really good for the artists. It's not really good for the venues in particular because you're having a bad experience, not just on tickets being very expensive, but then the actual process itself being difficult. A lot has to go right. And then if the show's not good, you're probably not going to book again. So what would I do to try and shake up this industry? Because 44% of music fans are buying fewer festival tickets. You could just say that's a cost thing and they're being priced out or whatever. But I think that will increase. And it's not just the cost, it's a bad experience for the end user. You're not having such a good time and you're spending a lot of money. So one of the main debates is like, how do you allocate tickets in a world where there is more demand than there is supply? Do you do first come, first serve? Now, people would argue that's not fair because it depends on availability of people, and you're never going to find a time where it's fair to everybody. A lot of tickets seem to go on sale like 11 o'clock on a weekday, and you're like, I have to work. What's going on here? I can't sit here for half an hour trying to buy tickets to this thing. This is ridiculous. And first come, first serve is not really good if you're in a rural area and you've not got the internet, it's not strong. It just generally doesn't seem very fair and it helps bots get there. Then you've got a lottery system, which is what Wimbledon does. I don't think I got Wimbledon tickets. Haven't been to Wimbledon, would like to go if anyone's got tickets. That does seem fairer, but the problem with that is it has a higher administrative cost and it's disappointment without visibility. It's like, hey, you didn't even get the right to buy a ticket, you know. But the same, I guess, is true of when you go online. At least you feel like you've got the same chance as everybody else. Maybe you could do something more with that. And last but not least, you've got loyalty. So for football clubs, for example, my club, Sheffield United, they have a point system, and if you've been so many times in the last couple of years, you get more points. You're more likely to be able to get tickets if they're hard to come by. And that is good to a degree because I think it rewards those people who have been to the club for many years. The problem is they always have to start somewhere, and so I'd been going to Sheffield United since I was 4 years old, but I didn't have a single point when the point system came in, which didn't seem particularly fair. And when it happened to come in, it was like I just moved away, and so I wasn't going to go every time. And it's not necessarily fair to new fans that they can't get access to something because somebody who's been a million times and seen something a million times has got priority. So my thoughts on this is I think the lottery is generally the fairest way of allocating tickets, but maybe I would do something a little bit different. So For a lot of new venues and shows and experiences, especially in London through Fever, the app, if you know that app, what they tend to do is they give you a preview, and there's not normally a lot to go on. It's about the feel of the thing, it's what to expect. It's normally a cheaper ticket because you are taking more of a risk on something that's not fully formed. Now, we all remember that Willy Wonka experience in Glasgow that was like that. He used AI and all of this kind of stuff. And obviously, it was a huge disappointment, and they were charging quite a lot for tickets. But it's not a bad idea because it means that you can get some money in and you can then spend that money on your production. And maybe it's not going to be 100% finished, but it will be somewhere that you know that it can go on without you making a loss and you're not having to take such a risk. I did that with a lot of things in London when they first opened through Fever. I remember Phantom Peak. I went there in like the first couple of months, and I went back recently, and it improved massively. And it was really great, and I could see where it had improved and how they changed the way they did that. But I also got to see it in like the first couple of weeks, so it was really nice to sort of see that. But I think generally that's a good way of doing things. I think in most cases, if you were to put out, even for like concerts, hey, this is the dates that we're looking for. This is going to be the price of the tickets. Are you interested? We need 200,000 fans or whatever it is to say yes to this. When we've got that, we know that 100,000 will probably follow through and actually buy tickets. And therefore, if we don't pass this point, it's not going to happen. And I think if you did that, that would be great for everybody because at least the artist knows, hey, actually, there's a pocket of people here who want to go see me, and maybe I didn't know, and they're willing to put on the show, and they're willing to pay the prices. And as I say, you would have to get double the amount of people you would actually need to make it profitable. And I think that would be a nice, fair step. And then you've also captured people's emails because the other side of this is you can upsell quite a lot. From there, I think I would do a lottery system in terms of buying the tickets, but I wouldn't just do an invisible lottery that nobody sees. I would have 10 backstage all-inclusive packages that I would just give away to every show, and I would have that live on social media and all of that kind of stuff. And I would make it more of a social event, and I would have people turn into that because I think that would be really good. It would add some excitement, and then also at the same time, maybe you're disappointed that you didn't get your ticket, you weren't able to buy a ticket, but at least you've got a bit of excitement. It feels that you can see that there is a process. Maybe they could explain how does the lottery work, what's the system that they're actually using, and so you'd feel it was a bit more transparent from that point. The next thing that I would do is, so you've had a disappointment there where you can't even buy a ticket to something. It's too you not had the availability of it. So the first thing I would then do is there's an upsell opportunity, which is the recording of the show. Every single show in the world, pretty much every single time, is recorded these days, right? So why on earth are you not filming that? And either you used to sell it on DVD and stuff, and I appreciate that that's no longer a fee, and then some people want to put things on streaming. But why not just say to people, hey, you couldn't buy tickets to the show. We're gonna give it to you for free, or for £5. You can then watch the show on streaming when it comes out. If it was a nice low price where you'd be like, "Hey, I'm disappointed that that these people have got £100 or whatever it is to pay for a show." But if you said to them, "Hey, for £20 or whatever it would be, you can buy the recording," and okay, some people aren't going to do that, and maybe after time you'd say, okay, you didn't get to see the show. I'm sorry, you're really disappointed, but we'll give it you for free. I think a lot of fans would be like, oh, that's really good. I got to see the show. It's just a different way. But they've signed up to your email. You're there for the future. The next thing I would do is that, like, every artist says that they don't really make money from shows, they make money from merchandise. And so all the people who didn't get tickets to the show, I would say instantly, hey, you get discounts to all of the merch straight away because so often you end the show and suddenly everything has to go on like a fire sale because it didn't go. So why not give those people who couldn't go to the show, if they want, it costs you nothing. It's basically free money because they're probably not going to buy it if they're not going to the show. So why not give them a big discount on all of your merchandise, and you're upselling there as well. The next thing would be you get a high priority for next time. So if you have not been able to get to Wimbledon this time, the next time you should be slightly higher in the rung. And I would do things in some ways that, hey, if you've never applied before, you're in this lot. And if you've applied before, you get slightly better odds. I think that would be fair. It gives everybody, you could say that that's not equal, but it shows that, hey, you were disappointed last time. We're going to try and include you more this time. The next thing is about the experience. Like, I understand that the point of the app is so that I can't give somebody a paper ticket and sell it for a load of money. I understand the point of that. I don't think it's a great system. I don't like to sign up to another app. It took me ages. The password and everything was a load of rubbish. I think there must be a better way of doing that, but I'm not quite sure what it is. Um, I also feel like that there's an opportunity there where you could have been upselling me things before the show and all of that kind of stuff, and it didn't really happen. It happened for the event uh, location, but not necessarily through the organizer. So the organizer wants people to get there as soon as possible, really, as early as possible. Generally speaking, it's better for safety. It's better for them because they're more likely to go and buy a drink and get some food and all of that kind of thing. So the second thing is, I think it's a bit crap that you're saying, "Oh, it starts at 7 o'clock," and then I found out, oh, it actually starts at 8 o'clock. So I would give people realistic times of what's going to happen, so they know exactly when they can plan. And then I think people will naturally spread out. If they don't want to see the opening act, they can come for the main event. All those kind of things are great. But also, what I would do is I would have some sort of online checkout, like in uh, an airport. If you're flying with Boeing, you can do a checkout before you actually get to the airport. I would have it based on location, and I would say if you're within like 5 miles of the venue or something, say, hey, if you want to come in early, maybe the show's not going to start for 2 hours or something. Cool, we'll give you a discount on food. And that's another upsell opportunity. You're getting in people who are going to come in early, and then maybe they're not going to do that. They're all going to come in at a similar time or towards the show. But if you say, hey, if you pop in a couple of hours earlier, yeah, you're going to have more time to wait. But I'll tell you what, we'll give you 20% off food. We'll give you some money off of a program. You're going to have a lot longer to wait and it's going to be a little bit boring. But if you want to do that, you can do that. And that's probably better for the venue. They get more money from that. The next thing that I would think about to improve the experience would be when you think of like a holiday, the time that you're most likely to book your next holiday is straight after you've just come from one. And so for bands and for live entertainment, it might be 2, 3 years before you're back in that city, and maybe you never come back. And so you can't promise them, hey, why not book our next tour? You can only say, we're at these other locations if you want to see us again. But what I would do is the event organizers, all they can do is basically say, hey, look at all this other stuff that we've got on. But why not try and spread the love a little bit? So if the support act is there for something that's a bigger artist, why not say, give that support act, hey, they're going to have their own stand-up special or their own concert, and you know that it's not going to be as popular as the main event. But because you've seen them at this show, we know that you might have liked them and enjoyed them, and we're going to give you that cheaper, and it's going to happen, the week or 1 month after the event, which gives you enough time to plan it and all of that kind of thing. And so you're then promoting the smaller artists, which you probably make more profit on because they don't need as big a fee. You can add a little bit of layer of profit there if you're the event organizer, and it's better for them as well because they could get maybe a fuller audience that way without having to try as hard. And so I try and spread the love a little bit because even though it seems like every single ticket sells out instantly, you can. It's not true of every artist. We all know that there's some people who are much more availability than others, and there are going to be people who are on the downward trajectory that you want to then pump up. And it's a much nicer way of pumping up through discounts from people who've already seen them or have already experienced them. It makes a lot more sense to me. And so those are the ways that I would try and fix the live entertainment industry. I think that if things don't happen, there's going to be more and more people who have a bad experience before they've even got to the show. And then if the show is no good, you are going to get people going, you know what, I'm not going to pay 300 quid because I had to rush to buy tickets. There was loads of pressure. I had to do it 6 months in advance. I had to book a hotel. I had to get tickets. I showed up. It was 3 hours before the thing even show started. So I was bored. The show wasn't good. It was a faff with the apps. It's not a good user experience. And user experience for me is everything. And so these are some of the things that I would do to try and fix it. Have you had a bad concert experience that was nothing to do with the artist, but everything to do with the event organizers? Do you think it's right that you're paying 20% towards a middleman who does basically nothing, from what I can tell? And how can we solve that problem? Is it that now in a world where anyone can build an app, that the event organizers or the location should have their own app for anything that's a concert at their particular venue? Or should it be artist by artist that they handle all of the revenue themselves? You know exactly where the money is going to. and then they can pay everybody else. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and thanks very much for watching.